All right, we're here with the head coach of the Beckville Bearcats, Coach Cody Ross. Coach, how are you doing today?
Man, I'm doing great. It's first day of school. It's been a good day so far, so I'm doing great.
All right. Well, how was the first day of school? Everything go well for the first day?
Yeah, it's been good. We got through most of the day so far. Had our athletic period during the middle of the day. Got some logistical things out of the way. Little team picture action. Got junior high athletics here in just a little bit, so we'll have a little practice this afternoon. But it's been a good day so far.
All right. Well, let's go back to last season. A 10-2 overall record for the Bearcats. Only two losses to a state champion in Timpson, and then Garrison, who a lot of people say would have been the state champs had it not been for Timpson. So, not too bad losses there. But I know it's not the way that the Bearcats wanted it to go. Obviously, what are your thoughts on last year, and how do you think last year went for you?
Yeah, I mean, I tell people all the time, anytime you can win 10 games, it's hard to be disappointed. We won another district championship, which is our third in a row and the first time that's ever happened in Beckville. So, in a lot of ways, we're very, very happy with the season and how it went. Just excited the way those seniors were able to finish off strong. But, there's a little bit to us that was disappointed. I mean, we felt like we had a really, really good team going in, and just had a tough draw in round two, and it was going to be the case. Garrison, extremely talented team. Their only two losses were to Timpson. So, you got Timpson week one, you got Garrison to end the year. Wish we would have got over the hump there, but we didn't. So, it's a little bit of a disappointment because we felt like we could have gone further. But still proud of our kids and proud of what we accomplished.
Well, let's talk about this upcoming year now. District realignment. The district didn't change a whole lot for you. They added a couple of teams in there, but what are your thoughts on the district? An 8-team district. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, we were a little surprised, honestly, to see the realignment come out and us being an 18 district. I think obviously the biggest 2A district in the state, with 8 teams, and we felt like who was ended up in our district was about what we figured. We just didn't figure. We thought maybe one or two others might have dropped out when we added Legion Fields and Wascom. We felt like that was probably going to be the case, which because of the locations and things like that. Of course, you never can predict what the UIL is going to do. So we feel good about those guys being in. I know Coach Lawson that came from Joaquin over to Wascom. I know him well and got to know Coach Crow well at EF. We played them last couple of years, so those guys are doing a good job. Their programs are on the rise, and then the rest of our district, I still feel like some of those teams are their better days are ahead of them. I mean, there's some really good young groups at Hawkins and Harleton, and even Big Sandy's got a really good young group. So there's some play people coming for them that are going to help their program. So I think it'll be a really competitive district.
And I want to ask you about Jacoby Williams. He was obviously at Texas Tech now and a big star for Beckville. And he obviously wasn't the team, but I want to ask you about him specifically. He was a special player in 2A. How do you replace him going forward? And just talk a little bit about his time at Beckville.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you the same thing I told our kids. You don't replace those guys. Those are guys you don't replace. I mean, those are players that come around once in a generation. Exceptional talent. He's an exceptional young man that I know Texas Tech is very glad to have. I know Coach McGuire and those guys are super glad to have him, and I'm super proud of him. But I told our kids, I mean, there's not another Jacoby Williams on this team, and that's not a terrible thing. We got some guys that are really talented. So what that means is some of those guys have to step up. Some of those guys had to fill some roles that Jacoby kind of held down for us for 4 years. Are they going to do it exactly like Jacoby? No, not exactly like Jacoby, but do we have some talent there in those spots? Absolutely. So it's up to me as a coach to figure out how to put those guys in the best situation to perform and be successful. I think we can do that. And I think those guys will accept the challenge. But having Jacoby around for 4 years was phenomenal for our football team, and our kids obviously enjoyed having him around. He was a big time leader, a captain for us, and he's moved on to bigger and better things. But I think he'll always remember his Beckville roots, and we certainly will. I've been keeping up with him. I've talked to the coaches over there a few times, and they've said several times. Coach Cochran, who recruited him, says, "Man, everybody loves the kid's smile. I mean, he's a talented kid. Don't get me wrong, but he's always got a smile on his face, and he just works extremely hard, which is what we had with him here at Beckville. So a lot of big things to come for him."
And what do you think that means to the younger kids in Beckville to see a kid like Jacoby go on to the next level and play it at a big program like Texas Tech? What does that mean for the kids in the Beckville community to see that, doesn't matter the size of the school, you can get out and go to these big programs?
Yeah, I think that's been kind of a thought process in the past. Even before I got here, there were several kids that had been in Beckville that moved on to different schools or moved away. And it had always been kind of, some of them had said, trying to find a way to get looked at differently or looked at more frequently. And Kobe set the standard for that at Beckville, obviously because he's a special athlete, but because he stayed and grinded through being a Beckville Bearcat, because that's what he was part of, and his parents were part of, and his mom was proud of, and for the younger kids, I can tell you, I've got two young ones that absolutely love him, and have seen what he can do and have seen what you can do at a small school can put you on the big stage. The great thing about that is, like I tell all these guys in here, we had every Division I recruiter from Power Fives and FCS coming through our program the last 4 years because a large part of Jacoby. So with that being said, there's many of those guys that came through and said, "Hey, what about that kid over there? What about that kid over there?" So being who he was and the recognition he got has allowed some of our other kids to see some of that and to go, man, that may not be impossible for me either. So especially the young ones, man. I've got some fourth, fifth, and sixth graders that they've got aspirations to do things like that because, and I think a large part because they saw what Jacoby was able to do. So it keeps the dream alive. You don't want kids to tell kids not to dream big. You want them to dream for whatever they want to accomplish. And so seeing Jacoby and seeing him be able to do that in a small program, that's big time for us.
And you made a good point there. A lot of people don't realize that, yeah, those D1 scouts may be there for a particular person, but if you show out while they are there, then that gets their eye, and then you're getting looked at too. So it's
Absolutely.
opportunities, and
Yeah,
that's awesome.
creates other opportunities, and we had some kids that several coaches asked about, and just they keep an eye on those kids, and they've seen them. Some younger kids that are coming through, they've seen them, so I think it'll open up some opportunities for some other kids as well.
That's great. Well, let's talk about this upcoming season. You're going for your fourth straight district title, like you talked about, and what's it going to take to do that? And then what's it going to take also this year to get over that hump and go deeper in the playoffs?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's tough every year. Nothing's ever a given. It's like I tell our kids. I mean, we've got a target on our back now. Especially within our district, a lot of these guys we played for a long time. These kids that are now juniors and seniors, they played in junior high against these guys. They played as JV players against these guys, and we've won a lot of games, a lot of district games, and not just at the varsity level. We've gone undefeated in our JV group the last 4 years and only lost one game one other year. So a lot of winning against a lot of the same people we've been playing. And so, like I tell them, that doesn't mean it's going to continue to be easy. Obviously, the more the older you get, the harder it gets, and I think that some of those programs have some good players. So it's going to take a lot of effort on our part. It's going to take a lot of guys stepping up. Like you said earlier, how do you replace those guys? I mean, you don't replace some of those guys. You just got to have younger guys step up and kind of be who they're going to be for us. And it may look a little different in some aspects, but got to continue to work hard. It's like I tell people all the time, we're not going to be the most athletic team out there. We had one of the most athletic kids, but we weren't always the most athletic team, and that's still going to be the case. We got to continue to grind and work hard and outwork people. That's the way we got to get it done.
All right, Coach. Well, thank you so much for taking the time and talking to us this afternoon. Best of luck to the Bearcats this season, and we will talk to you down the road.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Coach.